What is up, breathing life forms? Welcome to the Business One-0-Fun podcast, presented by Kanga Coolers. On this podcast, we talk with anyone and everyone about the fun in the business that corresponds from the fun. I'm your host, Teddy Giard, and we're here talking with someone awesome. That awesome person is not me. So without further ado, let's jump on into it. And also, grab a cold one. It's going to be a fun ride. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Business One-0-Fun podcast. We got a special guest here today, Logan LaMance, my boss, our founder, the CEO of Kanga. Logan, happy to have you, man.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm so shocked. I was so surprised when you asked me to come on this podcast. I have to say it's probably the best one I've ever done. The biggest podcast I've ever been on. I may be biased a little bit, but I think time will tell.
You definitely didn't see that coming. I mean, I know you had to travel really far, about 15 feet down the hallway to, join us in this room.
I'm not going to lie. I was busy with a lot of stuff, and as soon as you told me 10 minutes ago, I was like, you know what? This is worth it. Let's do it.
Right on, man. Well, we're going to jump into kind of your story as, an entrepreneur, a word that we throw around lightly, but I consider you an entrepreneur. We're going to jump into that, just kind of tell the story of Kanga, and really just hopefully give these people some insight and knowledge on what it's like to start a business in college, and hopefully inspire some kids to do it themselves.
Absolutely, man. We got a crazy story, so excited to share it. But first, we got to grab a beer.
Let's grab it.
So, get you a little...
Just loosen up the engine.
Bud latte. Water, rice, barley. I don't know why they started putting that on things.
Is that a thing? Yeah, no, I mean, we can, we'll always double back.
They started putting that on the cases, though. It's like water, hops, rice.
I don't know, dude.
The thing is, they started with water, and I think anybody that drinks Bud Light knows that's the main ingredient. So
yeah, and I also never understood the rice thing because,
it's not exactly what you want to drink with your beer.
I'm like, rice. Like, when I think rice, I think like grainy and like. I don't want to drink rice. Wheat is one thing, you think of kind of like a plant, but like rice, that doesn't make sense.
Well, hey, here's the best excuse.
Cheers, dude.
Cheers.
Yeah, best excuse. My boss gave me this beer. All right, dude. Well, let's jump into who you are, where you're from, and kind of, the ground roots of Logan LaMance.
Absolutely, man. So, small town guy from good old Pickens, South Carolina. The guys here at the office get sick and tired of hearing me talk about it, but hey. We're right here in Greenville, which is about 30 minutes away. So grew up in Pickens, went to Clemson University, which is about 20 minutes away from Pickens, and now I'm working about 30. So kind of been here my whole life, upstate of South Carolina. Went to high school. End of high school, I was really wanting to go into engineering because I kind of like to build things, and I was very hands-on with stuff, like to create things from my head. I'd always build trails in the woods, and I was always just building stuff, right? Just kind of creating stuff and constructing things. So I went to college looking to do engineering. And about a year of engineering kind of opened my eyes to that. It's not all fun. The fun part is designing stuff and building stuff, creating stuff, but a lot of it's the coding. A lot of it's the math, and I just did not feel like I had a great fit there. But my second semester of engineering, I was actually exposed to an internship opportunity through a company called Young Entrepreneurs Across America. And what they did was they basically took college students and taught them how to become entrepreneurs by giving them a house-paying business to run. And I guess giving them the generous word that you had to build it, right?
Yeah.
They gave you the blueprint. You had to go run it. And I'm sitting there, I'm wide-eyed, 19 years old, and I'm thinking, I want to make something of myself one day, right? I want to build my life and do as much as I can, as early as I can, to set myself apart. And I wasn't thinking entrepreneurship. I was thinking for a job, right? I was thinking, what kind of engineer is going to go there with this type of real-world experience, right? I'm going to get a job, piece of cake. Well, I get into the program, and I start learning how to recruit cold callers, go door-to-door, market, and I built out a team for that, and I was able to learn how to paint and how to recruit painters, hire painters, fire painters, and just kind of go through the entire process of building a business from the marketing side, very fundamental, nothing crazy there, but the marketing side to the hiring side to the human resource management side, and just to executing, just getting it done, managing workflow, dealing with customer service, sales, and stuff like that. But I think some of the biggest lessons I learned from that early on was, when you step into the world of entrepreneurship, it's going to smack you in the face. I'm a 19-year-old kid, and I got some bad habits. I'm not great at time management. I'm kind of just winging it. I've always been decent at school, so I kind of just winged it through high school. And I'm trying to wing it through engineering and not doing too great. GPA is not looking too hot. So that was kicking my butt. But I'm thinking, I'm just going to kind of keep doing what I've done and just go into this program and just rock it, right? piece of cake. Well, it actually rocked me upside the face. Like, it was one of the hardest experiences I've had my entire life. Not because it's any harder than what we're doing now, but because of the difference and the change that I had to go through from where I was to who I had to be to actually lead a team of people at age 19 years old. I'm sitting there hiring and firing 24-year-olds. I'm dealing with customers, like real dollars. Like, the biggest job I did was $8,000. And when I sold that job, and one of the coolest lessons I learned from that too, when I sold that job, I was 19. I didn't even have a crew of painters yet. I'd never painted a single house. And I literally go to their doorstep and I sit there and I give them the quote and I ask for an $8,000 check to paint their house. And they went for it. Not everybody went for it, but it just kind of shows you believe in yourself. Even if you don't have everything all figured out, believe in yourself and believe in your ability to get it figured out. Kind of like jumping out of a plane and learning to fly on the way down or something like that.
Yeah, so. And also like your work ethic. Like when you went up to that person like and asked, hey, let me paint your house for $8,000. Like, you probably didn't start off with, yeah, I've never painted a house before or whatever, no. But you knew that, you know, the work that you were going to give them was going to be worth $8,000, whether you had to come back twice, whether you had to come back 3 times. Like, it's the habit of producing something. If it's got your name on it, you got to hold some sort of standard or value Absolutely. Behind it.
If I commit to it, it's going to get done. The only question is that I got to figure out is how. Like, you're going to get a good job. It's going to work out. And we're going to get done right. Like you said, we got to come back twice, 3 times. But the question is for me to figure out is how the heck do I get there? Who do I have to hire? Like, I guess I got to learn how to paint and go through all that stuff.
It's the best way to learn about profit margin is, you know, time is money. And how much time are you putting into something to do it? So painting houses, was that like your first experience like with starting or running your own company?
That was the first entrepreneurship experience. And I had not had a vision to become an entrepreneur until that experience. And so through that, I kind of got a taste of it. You know, the GPA and getting good grades, it doesn't seem as attractive when, you know, you make $2,000 on a job or $3,000 on a job, or you have real world problems to face and overcome, and like you're managing real people, real dollars, and then you go back into a classroom and it's all kind of made up, right? It's a number on a piece of paper, theoretical. And so for me, I had a taste of it. It sucked. It was some of the hardest experience. I've worked 70 hours a week. I did not take a single day off. I learned a lot about myself. But it also kind of showed me, hey, I kind of enjoy it, right? I kind of like the chaos. I like the idea of creating something from scratch. And that's when it hit me, though. When I thought I was going to go into engineering because I like to create things, I realized that I was probably better suited to be an entrepreneur because I like to have a vision in my head and make it a reality and kind of find the gap between where I want to go and where I am now and that creativity on the path to get there. I realized that's probably what I'm better suited to do. So after that freshman year of engineering, I switched over to business, and I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I don't know how. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I've tasted it here. I can't let that go. I've developed into a person who can handle that now through the experiences and ups and downs, and now I want to, you know, try to find what that idea is or what I can do for that.
I think what's very fundamental about what you said is you said that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, and not once did you bring up wanting to be an entrepreneur because of the money.
Right.
You brought up being an entrepreneur because you saw that as a way to blend analytical viewpoint, you know, as well as creativity. And you realize that you understood that from engineering. You also realize that you like the process, you know, the unknown, like how can we create something that people don't see or position it in a certain way, and how those can all blend together. You know, entrepreneurship is kind of like the tool for that. And that's why you were pursuing it, because you wanted that aspect in your job career. It wasn't about being, you know, the guy in the Lamborghini.
That's such a good point, though, because I guess what I said there was the reason I wanted to be an entrepreneur was because I felt like that fit me better, right? For engineering, I wasn't doing it for the money. I thought that was what fit me best. Mm-hmm. But then I realized through that experience that I think entrepreneurship probably fits me the best. And so you're right, I didn't consider money. The money was great. It felt cool to be at that age trying to make that much money. Then my truck engine blew out and like I lost all of it. So I kind of realized really quick, like, you know, money's here today and gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? It can be a short-term thing you have today, and then all of a sudden something comes across, and it's really easy to get back too. I mean, it's
if you work hard, you can always earn it back.
I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not what everybody puts it up on the pedestal to be. I think what's more important is time. It's how you spend your time, and do you enjoy what you do, as in does it match with who you are, right? Who you are, who you want to become, and what you do reflect that. And for me, entrepreneurship really fit my characteristics. I'm a bit of a risk taker. I don't like anything to be mundane or stagnant. I like creating things. You know, I don't like, if you gave me a desk job and told me to punch in numbers all day, I'm miserable.
Yeah.
I don't care if you pay me, $150,000 a year, which I'd have to be really good at punching in numbers for that. But
you have to be quick.
Yeah, and I know you're the same way, where you just want to pursue something that you're passionate about, that you feel like it's an environment you can thrive in and truly like be you.
So how did that like change with school and everything as you took on, your house painting business, switched your major? You probably have less time for that. Did you see like any impact with your grades, or like how did that go?
Yeah, it was not good.
It was not good.
No, I mean, I learned a lot about time management, but I didn't really know as much as I needed to. Because I went back for a second year to do the painting business. And one of the worst decisions I made was to calculate how much money I spent to go to each class and to calculate how much money I would make by going and doing an estimate and painting that house. Yeah. I realized, I think it was like I spend $60 per class I go to, and I make $90 for a house painting estimate I go to. And so that was a really bad stat to get in my head, because then all of a sudden I started missing classes and stuff. I over-prioritized the other thing, but I got in the cycle of failing classes but making enough money to pay for me to take them again.
Yeah, so it was like just an endless cycle.
Such a dead end.
So what? Yeah. I mean, what did that teach you though? Like what?
Tell me, you've got to hyper focus on what is important. You can't do everything all at once. Like, so I guess a good example. I guess the day to day, we have stuff going on in our world. We have our main 4 to 5 things, right? But as soon as we get another one thrown onto us, or we say yes to this extra thing here and there, sometimes your capacity gets so constrained that every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, and you don't realize it. It's something you thought you were going to be able to do. And I think that's what happened with me. I was going to run this house painting business. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right?
You're all in on it.
I'm all in on it. Well, I wasn't all in on school, though, because I couldn't be. I couldn't do this to the best of my ability and do school at the same time. So I had to kind of take a step back, reprioritize, and realize, hey, it's okay if I don't, spend every waking hour trying to paint this house or trying to make this money. It's okay to take on a little bit of college debt. That was what I was trying to avoid, was taking on any debt. I was like, all right, let's just take on a little bit of debt. Let's get through this, because I'm going to be here forever and waste my time if I don't get through college and I don't, get through the business as well.
So at that point, you're kind of coming into your junior year or whatever, repeated a couple classes. You're back. You're probably doing summer school, right?
Oh, yeah. So I did summer school.
So you're doing school year-round, painting year-round.
Yeah.
How did Kanga come into your life, and how did that, change your trajectory?
Totally. So it was my first semester of junior year. And I said, I'm done painting houses. I'm not coming back. I'm not doing it again. I'm going to hyper-focus on school, get it done, and I'll be, after I graduate, I'll do entrepreneurship, right? I was like, I'm going to check this box, get through it, and then I'm going to go do something else. Well, I ended up having the worst semester of my life, GPA. I got a 1.8, because I realized another thing about myself. If I don't have enough going on to keep me accountable and to keep me disciplined, I just fall astray. I don't have any why. I don't have any, motivation.
Yeah.
And so that was a tough semester for me. So then I kind of looked at the next semester, my junior year. I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. I need something. I know I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I know I can't just do school, because I will be bored out of my mind, not pay attention, not try. I need something to get me going. I need an idea to get started on, right?
Yeah.
And so I ended up, just happenstance, taking a class that semester called, it was How to Start a Startup.
Yeah.
Which, pretty much lined up pretty well with what I was trying to do.
Exactly.
And so it was run by Chad Navis, and Ryan Frazier was the only guy in the class project with us. But had the idea for the class project. We had to create a solution to a problem that we faced, and drinking one beer on game day. It's also in a fraternity, and it gets pretty lazy. People just carry around open cases. I mean, they'll just walk around with a 12-pack, 24-pack of Bud Light, Natty Light, Busch Light, wherever you go, and it gets warm. I can't tell you how many just beers I cracked open. Foam just spews out.
Dude, you're not even looking forward to it.
No, it's just an obligation at that point. And nobody likes warm beer. Some people tolerate it, but if you like warm beer, I don't trust.
Except some European people, which I don't get. That's why we don't sell in Europe. But
no.
Yeah.
But I had the idea in the class project, and I guess the solution that I saw was someone grab a cold beer out of a cooler and put it into a koozie. I was like, well, really what they did was they grabbed the beer out of what made it cold, the cooler and ice, and put it into something to keep it cold more conveniently for the entire time they're actually going to drink it, which is a lot less time, right? A koozie. And so I was thinking, well, I grabbed the case. It's already cold. How long do I actually need to keep it cold for? How long is it going to take me to finish a 12-pack, or me and a couple of buddies to finish a 24-pack? like 3-4 hours tops. Like we're going to get the game. We're just going to go tailgate for a couple hours.
Yeah.
And then head on. It's like, well, why don't we just have like a range extender? Like why don't we have something like a koozie for the entire thing to keep it cold in a convenient way without having to worry about the ice, without having to worry about anything else. And the idea was called the case koozie at first. Have a nice little prototype sitting here about it. But it didn't work well. I mean, it was just enough to get us started, got some good feedback, and yeah, that's how it came about.
Secured you a C on the class project, and then
it's kind of the same tale as everything else for me. It's like we did the most important things right. We just didn't check the boxes with the class. Like, we didn't do the homework because I'm sitting there trying to figure out how do I get this prototype made? How do I like design this and this and this?
People would always ask me like, "Is it true that you guys got a C on the class project?" I was like, "Well, one, I wasn't in on that class project." But two, I know that the guys spent more time actually trying to make the business than follow the rubric.
No, we were playing business, not school.
Exactly.
So it overlapped enough to get us a passing grade, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
C's get degrees. So what I kind of understood when I came on was, a lot of people compare us to a physical, heavy cooler that you put ice in, which is completely different than what we are.
Right.
We literally...
I like it when they compare us to them, dude, because we're a lot lighter, more convenient, and a little bit more stylish, if I say so myself.
I would agree with that. And I think what's interesting is you kind of reinvented the system, like the concept as a whole, the use case scenario, which I think is harder to bring a product to the market when you don't necessarily understand, like, why am I using it? What's the why? You know what I mean? But I think that as we've seen the adoption and people starting to realize, oh wow, like on a game day I do go grab a 12-pack of beer and all I do is carry it around with me all day. People have started to realize, oh wow, like I can be drinking this and it's gonna suck way less, like with this cooler.
It's actually gonna stay cold.
It's gonna stay cold. Yeah. It's gonna be awesome. And then, if it takes you more than 7 hours to finish it, like shame on you. You're not tailgating.
For all the golfers out there, my best analogy I can give is you wouldn't use your driver to hit a putt or a chip. Right, you have different levels of your clubs for what you needed to accomplish. Well, the same thing with this. You shouldn't use a big $300 50-pound cooler and keep ice cold for 4 weeks for 4 hours. It's overkill. There's no point. You're not gonna be able to hit it. The driver, you're not gonna be able to hit a putt as well.
Yeah, no.
You're not gonna have as much fun with that big old thing, right?
No.
You're not gonna be able to lug it around. It's just kind of pointless. So
how are you gonna play like Tiger with the putter on the green?
Right, and like a lot of people, instead of doing that, they'll just drink the case. They'll just drink it and carry the case around with them and stuff. And that's kind of where we realize there's a need for kind of like that mid-range cooler, right? Where that convenient option where it's going to help you in that the day-to-day. And what we actually realized is there's more scenarios where this comes in handy than a big bulky cooler does. Yeah. If you're going on a 2-week-long fishing excursion, don't bring a case, mate. You don't that's not
what we're for.
Right, but go ahead and spend your $2,000 on your big Yeti trunk and just go for it. But for everybody else in the world, let's just go sit down and have a beer. Let's just go chill, play around a golf. Let's go to the beach, just hang out, the pool.
I mean, that is Yeti's market. They are built for the wild. I mean, if you are that outdoorsman that needs something cold for 2 weeks, dude, you're willing to spend that money on it.
That's your driver. Go for it. Get the big old driver.
Exactly. What I think we're trying to get people to see is, hey, you don't need to spend, $400 on a cooler that you're going to use for 3 to 4 hours. How many times are you, throughout the course of the day, how often are you actually reaching in that cooler?
No, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's you just don't need it. It's overkill, and we took a different approach to it, different concept, and I think what you said was key too, where it's like a lot of people didn't understand initially, how to use it. People are starting to come around, but anytime you create a new educational barrier, you're changing the whole fundamental concept of it. Because originally everybody's like, where do you put,
changing habits?
Where do you put the ice? And it's you don't. A cooler without it's just disconnect.
It's a foreign, people can't process it.
It doesn't work. But as soon as you get a little momentum and you build out more reputation, Shark Tank helped a big time, time with us. And as soon as you just got more experience and more reputation in the market, and people had seen us more, and all of a sudden they trust that, hey, this is actually a real product. It's a real thing.
Proof of concept.
Maybe let me try it without ice. Let me do it. And then you're amazed that, hey, I didn't know it could do this. I don't need anything else. That's cool. That's awesome.
I love that. So getting back to the class project, where it all came up with, when you guys came up with the concept, the case koozie, where did you see that going?
I saw it. I was a little naive. I told everybody when I presented the project in the class, like I had the idea, and most people in the class were just doing it for that semester because the goal was to get entrepreneurs a little bit of real world experience. You know, some company was like repackaging nuts and putting a label on it. And like,
yeah, I mean, 90% of the class is starting a company to get an A.
Right. And then there's like a mobile car wash service, and it's just like when I had the idea, I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't fit that type of like this could be a thing.
Yeah,
like, this could be real. And so I presented to the class, and I was pretty bold. I was like, hey guys, this is going to be a thing. We're going to be on store shelves by the end of the semester. Who's in? Like, who wants to join? Which, in hindsight, class project partners aren't always your best business partners because I didn't necessarily get to choose them. And we got lucky with a diamond in the rough with Ryan. You know, he's still with us today, and he's been a pivotal part of building this thing.
Seriously.
So some things worked out, but typically speaking, it's a challenge there.
So you saw it as a long-term thing right
I did, right off the bat. I was a little optimistic on how long it was going to take to get there, but as soon as I had the idea, I was like, because I was already looking for an idea. I was already going to be an entrepreneur. Like, I made my mind up. All I needed was the idea and a vehicle to get me there, and this class was a perfect vehicle, and this was the perfect idea because I like to drink beer a lot. Like,
totally.
do something you're passionate about.
Exactly.
Like drinking beer. And so this is just a perfect storm for me, so I had no question in my mind. This is going to happen. We're going to radically transform the way people that view the cooler. And challenge how they think about it, especially in a world where, you know, the big, hard, roto-molded Yetis have come in and they kind of convinced everybody that you should pay $300 for it. They should keep it cold for 3 weeks. Well, to that same token, there's also another gap here that, you know, nobody was filling, and I think we're the perfect company to do it.
Totally, man. So I guess, like, after that, you presented to the class, kind of, like, walk us through the story with, you know, where you saw things going, what you learned along the way, and kind of, you know, summarize it as you will up to kind of where we are now, like what's going down.
Absolutely. So much.
Yeah,
so much has happened. I mean, goodness. But the abbreviated version, we created the idea in the class project. We got a prototype made. We really established the business, did all the fundamental groundwork stuff, LLC, making sure everything was locked and loaded. And then we had to, remove some of the team members, get a new team on. That's where Teddy came on. So Teddy was immediately post-class project. And we
little 18-year-old running around the office.
18-year-old with a good camera and some good skills. I mean, we needed a good way to show it. So we actually had launched a Kickstarter campaign in the class that failed miserably. And we realized, all right, we need someone that can produce some good video, put out some good content, someone that's going to do some good quality work. We also had other needs too. We needed someone to run more on the marketing side and more on the sales side. And that's where we found Austin. And we just kind of balled out, went out and got everybody we needed to. It kind of, everybody gravitated towards the product too. It wasn't really like, we didn't come pitch you. Like, it was more of like you had seen us at a party. I know we had a drunk conversation.
Yeah, we did. That was actually, that was funny. I did want to highlight on that how the way that you and I ran into each other was we had a serious conversation, and then we were both like, are you going out tonight? And then I know when we were out that night, I was like, Logan, like, I want in on this thing, whatever. And you were like...
We were hammered, too.
We were deep.
We were pretty hammered.
We were deep. And you were like, you know what? Like, you're in. And I remember the next day I woke up, feeling great. I felt great. Not really. But
I didn't.
No, not really.
I mean, one of us. I was hungover.
Mentally, I was excited. And I was like, I really hope Logan remembers that conversation. I shot you a text. You're like, yeah, like, let's get this thing going. But it's... Everyone that kind of came into the company, wouldn't you say, they essentially brought themselves because they're like, I can provide value here.
Right, absolutely. We had gaps, but it was also people that were on campus that met those gaps at the right time. Again, a lot of it's been a perfect storm where we had this need, and that's also another positive about starting a company in college, is you just have an abundance of resources there, whether it's university or you have abundance of people. Like people like you who are, like people like me doing an entrepreneurship thing, trying to, get a house painting business off the ground. At the same time, there's people like you, doing videos and getting paid for it.
Like Austin, who's starting, who saw a gap in the market and went and jumped in, was essentially one of the first sales reps for Beatbox.
Right, and he was an ambassador for at least 18 bajillion different companies. Building his reputation. Like they're studs in college that are just ambitious and pushing and working hard on things other than school. And you're in college, you're surrounded by those. You have an abundance of resources there. And so, fortunately, I guess, honestly, if it wasn't a beer product, we probably wouldn't have come together so easily. But we all had the same interest in mind. Yeah, we are passionate about keeping beer cold.
How was that, if you were speaking to college kids, I like to think that we're probably going to get a lot of college kids, guys, post-graduation, maybe even some, high schoolers that are going into college listening to this podcast. a lot of them are like a lot of them think that when we started Kanga, everybody was like, you guys are like fucking brilliant and you're the man and that cooler is sick, which is not the case.
We were chotches.
Oh my gosh.
we were definitely looked at and fun. Because dude, I'm sitting there carrying it like a lunchbox. Like I got the original case koozie prototype, and I was in a fraternity and they all kind of like picked on me about it. But every time I would get drunk, I would literally walk around with it and I'd ask everybody, hey, fill the beer. Is
it cold?
Is it cold? If you say it's cold, you can have it. And so I'd just give out a bunch of beers and just get hammered.
So it was always cold.
It was always. Well,
it worked like
it was the first prototype. It probably worked for about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, but
didn't even have a top. But it was always cold.
If you say it's cold, then you get it for
right.
free. Everyone's down.
Right, it was always cold. But no, I was the weird guy with the case koozie. I knew when the product wasn't quite there yet. When you came on, we had samples, but it wasn't where we wanted it to be.
It wasn't pretty, no.
And it was kind of a new concept, and it just kind of seemed, not as well received as we had heard. People thought, oh, cool idea. But nobody really connected idea to what we would become and like what we were seeing it as. And so I think that's really important too, where nobody's going to believe in your dream or your vision more than you. And so in your head, I know we deal with this now too, everything we're working on right now will come out in 6 to 12 months.
Yep.
We have to have that forward-looking vision. All that everybody else sees is what's on the surface right now that we worked on 6 to 12 months ago.
Exactly.
And the same thing when we started it was like, I know where we're going to be. You just haven't seen it yet. Like you see where we're at, but in here we see where we're going to be, and you'll find out. Only the difference is time.
Totally. So I think like just like that mentality, realizing that, hey, the way that you're viewing this, nobody else is viewing it that way because you're closer to it. You know the progress. Right. You know the trajectory. For college students that want to start their own company, that have an idea, are passionate about doing something, I think it's really important for them to realize, like, a lot of your best friends, like a lot of people that, your best friends will come out and show you that they support you and stuff like that. But, mostly everyone's going to be a doubter at first. But, like, if you have that belief that you can do something, you have a strong why statement, why am I doing this, and a clear understanding of what market you're trying to penetrate and what problem you're trying to solve, you can do it.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to believe in it. And a lot of times, I guess what we ran into was people love the idea, but they didn't see me or us as capable of, like, taking it to that level.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a cute idea. That's kind of what it comes down to. Like, people may love your idea, but they will never really see you actually making it real in a big, big way. Like if we had told people in the class project, yeah, we're going to be on Shark Tank in about a year and a half. We'll see you there. Like, it's that thing where you're like, all right, get out of here, kid. Like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, like, screw you.
Like, screw you. We weren't thinking Shark Tank at that time, but we were thinking on that level, like, this is going to be a thing. And so people may love your idea, but as soon as you start getting some traction, there may be some people that are just kind of like in disbelief, or like maybe some people may try to bring you down and make them feel inadequate about themselves and where they're heading. But at the end of the day, stay the course, know where you're going in your head. Take the positive feedback when it comes and take the negative when it comes, and know how to tell, what negative feedback is constructive and what negative feedback is just to bring you down. It's important to discern that, but yeah.
Totally. And I mean, you're going to get positive and negative, in many cases, more negative feedback than you are positive. Right. And negative feedback is good.
It's important to listen to the right kind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So, I mean, breaking it down, like, you started a company when you were a sophomore. You also started Kanga when you were a junior, all in college.
Yeah.
What do you think? How do you think that affected your quote unquote college experience?
Well, it was a lot less flexible than most. There's sacrifices to make. Like, everybody knows that. You know that more than anybody. With achieving great things, you have to trade something in for that. But the way I looked at college, when I wanted to become an entrepreneur, when I kind of had that figured out, when we had the idea for Kanga, the next thing I was looking at was, well, I don't want to have to go get a different job somewhere. Like,
yeah.
I've got so much passion for this. Like, we're starting this thing right now. We're getting built up. Like, we have momentum. We're going to make this a thing. I don't have to go, like, sell my 40 hours a week to some, Joe Schmo's company.
Then go do overtime on what I'm really passionate about.
Right, like, and work that in the moonlight. Like, I would do it if it came down to it, but, like, I had a sense of urgency about, let me get to a place where I don't have to go, and find a job and take away from this. Like, let me get to a place with this company where I can hop right into it. And so that was really the urgency with building it in college. And it sucked a little bit. It was exciting. It was a lot of ups and downs, but it kind of sucked not being able to go out as much as I would like to. and not be able to like, go to every single thing. I was in a fraternity, but I kind of, dissociated a good bit because I didn't have time. Like there was no time for me to go enjoy that part of college. There's a sacrifice to be made. But on the other end of that finish line with college, I wouldn't change a dang thing. I mean, goodness, I got so many buddies that hate what they're doing now that went out and they didn't really try that much in college. They kind of bought into the old adage that this is going to be the best 4 years of your life.
Totally.
And me and you and everybody else in the Kanga team, we kind of looked at it in a different way. We're thinking, no, like, this can be the most effective 4 years. This can be the most important 4 years.
You're never going to have more free time in your whole life.
You'll never have the flexibility. You'll never have the free time. And basically, you're just determining where you start your life from.
Yeah.
Like, where's your starting line going to be when you graduate? If you don't do anything that 4 years, you're going to be way behind.
Wouldn't you rather get a jump start?
Get a jump start, and it exponentially changes your trajectory. But now we're all in a position where we love what we do. Because as a result of the sacrifices we made in college, we still had fun. Like we still have fun today. Like that's never been something we've had to sacrifice too much of. But it does come with work. So
totally. I think the moral of what you just said is it takes one sacrifice and two, it takes balance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just finding that balance between. I mean, it's not good to be only working. You need to have.
It's not good to be only
socializing either. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes, like you can interpret it as you will, but I heard this my sophomore year, right before I jumped in with you guys, was you can party for 4 years and work the rest of your life, or you can work for 4 years and party the rest of your life.
Amen.
And that was a way that, I wish I knew the guy's name, but interpreted college. And that really stuck with me because I remember thinking, hey, like if I can jump on something that I really like at a young age, I think the trajectory, is more in my control than otherwise.
Right.
So
it's amazing how, all the beer we didn't drink in college has led to us being able to drink some on a Friday afternoon.
Right now, exactly. As I'm almost ready for a numero dos.
Likewise.
Beer break. And we are drinking Bud Light here because of our friends at Anheuser-Busch. Tag them below if you want to see another Bud Light Kanga.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a really good Kanga.
Cold, crisp, just in time for football season.
If you're listening, Bud Light, I didn't mean what I said about the rice.
Yeah.
It's a good beer.
It's a good beer, and your marketing is on par, so we know you have
probably
strategy.
The most crushable beer.
The most crushable beer, and also probably the best marketed beer on the planet.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Their Super Bowl
with
commercials
the most
are ridiculous.
koozie right here.
Exactly. Performance enhancing.
I feel like my performance has been enhanced, don't you?
Oh, I agree, dude. I mean, as we're having this pod, like I can even do hand motions. No, I'm not going to lose my grip on this thing.
All right, we're riding 2-wheel drive, but let's slap it down in full.
All of a sudden, dude, you can even mug it if you want. Mm-hmm. That's like one of my favorite things. When you get up on the morning for game day, a little breakfast beer. It's like a classy way. Like when I'm sitting at home in my parents' house, I'm sitting at the counter, I got this beer, I can sip on it.
It just feels right. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, my mom's like, it's 9 a.m., why are you cracking a beer? I'm like, Mom, breakfast beer. She's like, it's a movement. She's like, no, come on. It's 9 a.m.
Alcoholism.
Time to roll a campus, baby. But, all right, we digress.
We totally did. Let's bring it back.
Yeah, let's bring it back. So, at this time, we've kind of covered, your mentality.
We've covered the college.
Definitely covered the college thing. Jump us out of that, Logan.
So, Shark Tank,
that was
pushed us out. Like I would like equate it to being pushed out of a plane with maybe not knowing if you had a parachute or not. Just hoping that someone gave you one, and you have to find out on the way down. Can we survive this or can we not?
And there's no backup either.
Because when Shark Tank aired, it was real. Like it was go time. It wasn't a project anymore. It wasn't fake money. It was the real deal. It was time to go, and it was either we're going to sink or swim. We had to deliver on real orders. We had to make real products. We had to market them well. We had to hire real people, and it really that's what kicked us off as a business and started getting us on the trajectory we needed to be on. But before then, I guess to kind of wrap up the whole college thing, we actually kind of prepared for that pitch a little bit through school. We had done a pitch smackdown competition, won some prize money. We'd come across your dad, who's been a big mentor for us, and he actually gave us our first investment, and he really took my hands and showed me how to take who I am from college kid with an idea to real business owner. And he really kind of showed me, how do you make a product in China? How do you build a real team?
Yeah. I think that's so interesting because, like, you and my dad had such a, obviously, different relationship than the relationship that he and I had. But it was so interesting to get him to see him in a scenario to where he is, full blown business. Mm-hmm. I always heard about it, but seeing the relationship that you guys had has been like super interesting. Like what was it like, I guess, having being 19, 20 at the time. You're 21 at the time. Numbers are numbers, but 21 years old, I guess, and having like an executive kind of over your shoulder with high expectations trying to guide you and stuff like that. Like,
it wasn't just high expectations. It was like, I put money into this.
Yeah, exactly.
You better not make me dumb for this. So it was, there were expectations, but he really just, like I said, showed me how to go from, college student to real business owner. Took my mindset from where I was to where I needed to be. Really helped us get the product made. That was kind of his expertise, was manufacturing, product design, and stuff like that. And so he helped us get the product, because like I mentioned before, we were not in a good place with the quality of the product, where we were at. He helped us get on the right foot. Now, it wasn't where we wanted to be. It's not where it is now, but it got us on the right foot with the product. He got us set up. And then from there, we did a Kickstarter campaign. And, everything kind of led up to Shark Tank and how we tried to push sales. Because we knew we were going to air, or we knew we were going to film about 3 months before. And so I know you remember the times where we were sitting there trying to figure out how can we make as much money as fast as possible, and make our business package and look as good as we could
possibly
to go on the show. Because we watched a lot of Shark Tank. Nobody watched it more than Austin. I watched it probably the next most, and you didn't watch a single one. So maybe some of us watched some Shark Tank.
You guys, Austin made up for the slack.
Balanced each other out. Yeah. But so we knew exactly how to package ourselves to be successful in the show. That's the easy part. What to do, the how to do it. That's the hard part. That's where you got to figure out.
It's position. It's your position statement.
Right.
At the end of the day.
And so we learned and we adapted. Like, one of the challenges we had was we didn't have products in hand. We launched a Kickstarter campaign, and it took us 180 days to make it from there. We had a lot of issues, a lot of problems. And so we were hoping to hit $100,000 in revenue. Well, we did $30,000 on Kickstarter. So we had a $70,000 gap to make up before Shark Tank, but we had no products to sell. Wouldn't that be kind of a...
Yeah, it's kind of a big
how do you...
factor.
Chicken and the egg, right? How do you figure that out? So we had to adapt our business model because we can print on these things. The entire thing. We did it because we wanted to have cool graphics like this one, like make everything look awesome and stellar. But actually, there's a pretty good value to companies like Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch to make custom products for us, or with us. So we actually decided, and that's when Austin kind of took the reins on the sales side of the business. We actually built out a sales side to make custom products for these companies, and that's what generated enough revenue for us to come into the tank with $100,000 in sales and to be able to secure an actual deal.
That realization is what enabled us to bootstrap this whole thing.
Absolutely, because it's our growth hack.
Yeah,
because every time we get an order for 300 of them, that money, it's prepaid. We don't make it until we get the order, and then we make it, and then we get the cash. Like, there's no risk. Either we have the order or we don't have the order. And so that's a known factor there. So we balance that. And it also helps too. We make normal case mates on the same production runs. So it helps with our volumes and stuff. So that was a really good hack, but we didn't really know what it was going to be until, we had to make that pivot. Until someone from Anheuser-Busch reached out to us, actually.
Yeah.
But
we were talk about a selling point in the tank.
Right. That was our hammer. That was our hammer. And Mr. Wonderful walked right into it. He was saying... He's like, guys, I know, have you thought about taking it to breweries? Like, I think he said, there's one thing you haven't thought about.
Yeah, that's what
he was kind of getting on to us. One thing you haven't thought about, taking it to breweries. Why haven't you guys done this?
We got to
and
laugh.
Then we literally smiled and laughed at each other. And Austin's like, I'm glad you asked.
Because we're actually at the
We actually just secured a deal with the largest brewery in the world. I don't know anything better you can say.
No, dude. I mean, that is like the ultimate mic drop, man.
Yeah. So and after that, I think that's when the tide went in our favor, and then Mark made the offer, and everything kind of went our way. So just again, we packaged ourselves perfectly to go on the show and execute and have success there. But since that point, we kind of got pushed off that cliff to this is a real business. Are we going to sink or swim? How are we going to handle it? And at that time, I'm living in my parents' basement. You're still in school. Austin's got a different job and he's working part-time with Kanga. Ryan's got a different job. He's working part-time with Kanga. Kyle's, working part-time with Kanga. Like, we had a bunch of people that weren't fully in. We didn't have an office. We didn't have anything.
No, yeah, we didn't.
My parents were sick and tired of me being in the basement the entire time. Like, I was sick and tired of it, man. It's miserable. I don't know how people are working from home as much now. We had to do it for a while, but we're staying distance here and doing everything we need to. But
there's something to be said about having everyone in one place.
There's an energy. There's a synergy.
Yeah.
It's just like everything kind of comes together. But man, I'll tell you, I took 2 trips to the post office every single day, not because I needed to, just because I wanted to get out of the house. Like, I'm literally like nonstop locked in the basement.
Crazy, yeah.
And that lasted for about 9 to 10 months. And
yeah.
so that's when when Shark Tank hit. I know you came over to the house a couple times. We're literally sitting there in my parents' garage, like filling up orders. We had a mountain in the driveway of orders.
That was wild. That was the craziest.
We shipped for 12 hours.
We did. But we were, I think the entire time I was just excited. Like, every time I packaged an order, I was like, and we took a picture at the end of the day with all of us laying in the number of orders, and because it took up your entire driveway. And that was kind of the moment for me where I was like, this is real. This is serious. This many people want our product. Like, it's time to move.
Exactly. That was the biggest realization. It's like, holy crap, people actually, like, this many people wanted it and bought it. Like,
yeah. And wait, mom and dad's house isn't built for, shipping out this many orders.
Dude, it was a nightmare. Every time we got a shipment in, too, the trucks couldn't come into the neighborhood. And so I'd have to meet them out with my pickup truck at the front, unload every single box, and I'd have to make 5 or 6 trips back and forth to the front of the neighborhood just to get a shipment. And it was crazy. But then, we got an office because we realized that's not sustainable whatsoever. Yep. My parents were literally about to murder me. They were sick and tired of seeing casemates everywhere they lived. But we got an office, but it wasn't a normal office.
I was going to say,
what was our criteria for picking that office?
This is the perfect time to jump into the OG Fun Factory. I mean, I know the criteria was, what is the cheapest place we can find within, like, what, a 50-mile radius?
Yeah, as long as we, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
As long as it was, like, not too bad of a drive for everybody.
50 minutes on the dot. And, I mean, you can go from there.
Yeah, it was, what's the cheapest possible place we can get? It doesn't have enough space to put a half pipe in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The half pipe was the biggest marketing thing.
Some other questions we didn't ask was, does it have heat and AC? Reliable power? Is it in a murder zone of
Anderson, South Carolina?
Anderson, South Carolina. There was a gas station 2 blocks down that there was a murder at.
And multiple. There were 2 over the course. How long were we there? 8 months?
8 months. We called it Stop a Minute. Or it's called Stop a Minute. We called it Stop a Bullet.
Yeah, it was good at that.
It was. Yeah. The cops busted in one time. I remember you were afraid because the cops busted in. You were like, they were freaking out.
Dude, they were
up the street,
packing heat. Like
he ran off on foot. Like, easily could have come right towards.
Yeah, us. I mean, so I guess to like preface the situation. What, did you promise Kyle and I that we could get a half pipe if we got a deal on Shark Tank? How did that go?
I wanted the half pipe too.
You wanted the half pipe too?
Yeah.
Yes. So it worked.
We just got a half pipe.
Yeah, we got a half pipe. We were like, how can we make our office, just pop? People are going to talk about it all the time. What we did is built a half pipe in it.
Well, it was our saving grace. Because, like, you can have the crappy, like, anybody goes there, it's the crappiest looking place. Like, it is disgusting. It's an old abandoned factory from the 60s. The whole thing's like 30,000 square feet. We had a 4,000 square feet section of it. Like, there's a guy next to us doing, like, metal fabrication.
Oh, yeah.
There's a guy over the other side that has, like, an auction with, like, a bunch of, like...
Yeah, on the weekends it's an auction. Our warehouse is literally an auction house.
I'm glad they didn't grab case baits and roll with them every
exactly,
time.
Yeah.
But, like, this one saving grace, though, is like, yeah, look at this. You bring someone up there, it's a crappy place. It's like, but wait, we have a half pipe in the back. And they're like, no way.
Yeah.
It's a saving grace.
Done deal, man. Everyone's excited about it.
I looked at it as the money we saved on rent. Like, we could justify having a little half pipe there.
Totally. Well, you got to have something fun or else people are going to be like, what the hell is this place?
And nobody but Kyle could skate. Actually, he couldn't even skateboard when we started.
No.
Nobody
we all
could
learned.
Skateboard.
Yeah. We all learned. I mean, that was the fun part is like, I mean, the amount of times we're taking slams in there. I mean, we also had, I want to talk about the red, like, lever. or whatever of doom in the back. Right, happened to be perfect placement right next to the half pipe and right by the lever for the fan.
Yeah.
Might I add?
Yeah. So the story there, my dad works at an electrical company. He's a nuclear reactor operator, so he knows electricity. He knows all the ins and outs about electrical wiring and switches and things. Well, he gets to the office for the first time in the warehouse, and he was literally mortified. He's like, "This place is hideous. It's terrible." And he's walking around like looking on the electrical, like, "I don't know how this place hasn't burned to the ground yet." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he walks over and he finds him. He's like, he freaks out. He like drops his jaw. He's like, "Have y'all been touching this?" I'm like, "Yeah, like it fell off the other day and I just chained it back up." He's like, "You need to stay away from this." I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "This thing can cause arc flash. Like there should be a plate on it. It's old. It's rusty." Basically, at the end of the day, he showed me a video of somebody doing it, like a dummy or whatever, like they show at training.
Yeah.
And it gets hotter than the surface of the sun when it goes wrong. When you flip the switch and it's open like that, and he said it only really happens in dusty environments. What was the most dusty environment on the planet?
Yeah, we ran to rust and dust, dude.
So I turned that switch on and off a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like it was sketchy, man. It was sketchy, and we had to put a piece of plywood over it, and it was
I just remember my first experience, like, because we moved in there when I think it was my junior year of college, and so I remember I would try to come in once or twice a week, like changing in between classes and stuff. I remember Kyle was like, "Hey, turn on the fan because we're about to go ride the half pipe." And I walk over and I stick my hand on the red lever. I don't know. It's the first one that popped out.
It's next to the fan.
It's next to the fan too. And I'm about to crank that bad boy down. And Kyle's like, "No!" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, like he was like speechless. So I took my hands off and I was like, "Holy crap! What are you talking about?" He goes, "Dude, we will die if you pull that thing." And I was like, "Are you serious?" So what we did is we just put a wood plank over it.
Yeah.
That's how you covered it up. Just covered up with a wood plank. That was the Fun Factory 1.0. So I think, as we just talked about our fun stories and experiences at the Fun Factory 1.0, what we did save was cost, and also we had good times as well. But
Absolutely.
It was a sacrifice we made to, actually see if we could turn this thing into a reality.
Right. It was a transition point. Like the first person, like when we got to the office, I was the only person working there. And then Austin was the only other person working there. And then Ryan. And then we slowly but surely added to the team and everybody came on full time. It was a transitionary office, right? Like there was no need to get in a full office when it was just me. But it was a place where we could all kind of transition into it. It was cheap enough to where we actually had an office because that's all we could afford. But I think the coolest thing about it is the sacrifice, but it's also the fact that it's such a cool story.
That's so
you can
cool,
tell,
man.
and if you're listening, you can hear it. Like we love talking about it because it's just like it's such a cool story and like or a piece of the story in our entire journey.
Well, I just remember it was so cool. Like going back to school and people were like, "Dude, you guys have an office?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we do." And I remember bringing my roommates to the office for the first time and them being like, "This is your office," But we got the half pipe, and then they're like, "Oh, that's sweet," but like, you guys work here? I think the only person that was pumped about that office was my dad.
Yeah, because he understands.
He understood. He's like, "You guys are gonna look back on us and be like, this is awesome."
We also had a whole gym there too.
Yeah,
that was fun.
It was an all-in-one.
Yeah, I used to work out before work, and I used to take baths in the bathroom, but we didn't have a shower. So I took a bucket, filled it up with water, and took a cup and had a tarp down. And I took a cup and I was just like literally bathing myself in cold water with a tarp under every single time. But then I flooded the other bathroom.
Yes.
And everybody got so pissed at me, so I stopped showering there.
I remember Kyle and I had to live there for like 3 days or whatever when we were transitioning apartments.
Dude, it was so bad.
Dude, the stories that came out of the place were unreal. I think what, like, the moral of that story is, though, is that we were able to save money, like, actually have, like, an actual proof of concept. Like, we were there until we actually physically outgrew the space. Because, I mean, the space was, the size of this room, which...
Our only office, we had, well, I guess it was kind of a two office thing, but, like, we had maybe 300 square feet max to work with.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to paint the picture. It's like your standard classroom, but smaller.
Yeah, the back office was basically a dorm room.
Yes.
It's the exact same size as it. Actually, probably a little smaller than a dorm room.
Dorm room. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, the office size was 2 dorm rooms. and we had,
I would agree with that.
At some point in time,
it's a dorm room with the bathroom. That's exactly it.
Yeah. And sometimes we had 8 people working there.
Yeah.
Like we had one big conference table that wasn't a conference, that was our desks. Like everybody had a spot in that table. And then the back room was, they were crammed in like sardines. And everybody had a phone call at the same time. Like literally there were 5 people talking at the same time, talking over each other. There was no heat, no AC.
Everything that was going on, everybody knew everything.
Right. But like that's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And that's part of the story. Like if we, as soon as we went on Shark Tank, let's say we, struck it rich and, made millions and millions and we got a fancy office, like who cares?
We wouldn't be talking about that.
That's not fun.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not exciting. Like that's why some parts of the journey, like some parts suck, but like I'm glad they do because it makes it interesting. You know what I'm saying?
It's
like
part of the experience.
Right.
We always talk about too, it's not about the, end destination, it's about the journey.
And you're always on the journey. Every
Exactly.
single day. Like we'll be talking one day about where we're at now. Like I know we looked at when COVID hit and we were kind of thinking, how are we going to survive through this? It's like, we'll be talking about how we did it one day. Right now we just got to figure it out.
Exactly.
So it's just stuff like that where we're always on that journey. We'll always be talking about, down the road what we're doing now.
And I think as long as you're enjoying the journey, that's the most important thing. And that's what keeps businesses successful. I think at the core, like if you are not surrounded by people that you enjoy and you guys don't share the same vision, there's going to be no camaraderie. There's going to be no, strive. Like, I want to do whatever I can to help you out. You want to do whatever you can to help me out. Vice versa. Every single person here, we know how hard each and every one of us works, and we want to do whatever we can to help them succeed and become better because we know at the end of the day, it's bettering the company.
Right. Absolutely.
I think through these, kind of rugged times and just where all you have to lean on is like camaraderie, I think that's where you really grow a powerful team.
Right, because that's when we don't have anything else. Right? We didn't have a perfect product to begin with. Like we didn't have a perfect setup. We didn't have any money. Like we didn't have anything but a vision. That's all it was. And that's what united us together in the beginning, in the class project and after. Like it was just a vision for what this is, what Kanga could be and what we could stand for, what we could be about. And we still get united by that today. Like we have the most average office in America. It's on the smaller side. But we think it's a castle. Like it's amazing.
Dude. It's got AC.
We have AC. We have a warehouse right there.
Yeah.
Like, we have more than one room.
It doesn't rain rust.
It doesn't rain rust. Like not a single
We only
time.
have to vacuum like
once a week. Yeah, that's just because we bring in dirt through our feet and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And there's not as many bugs, but yeah, it's we treat it like it's amazing and stuff, but like at the end of the day, we still have that vision. We still have that focus on like, where are we going? Like I don't think we ever sit back and think, hey, we made this product, we done this, like this isn't this, like we're doing all right, we're doing good. No, I feel like we're always feeling like we're behind the gun, like guys, we should be doing better. Like we know what we can be doing, we know where we could be.
It's always that forward thinking. Right.
It's like the rear view doesn't exist. Like I don't think about Shark Tank. I don't think about it. Like the only time we reflect on it, I know you're the same way, like is when we're talking about it right now.
Like right now. And I was gonna just jump into that is what is your like opinion and like take on self-reflection?
I think it's big in the right times. I think self-reflection can also turn into, like I said, looking in the rearview mirror a lot. Like if you look back too much and let your past kind of control your future, I think it's probably a bad thing. But if you look at your past as something to learn from the future, I think it's a little bit different, right? Because one perspective, if it controls you, like if you're held back by it, you have no control over where you're heading and what you can do to fix it, right? Or what you can do to build on it or something, good things you did. Basically, it's holding you back. The other side, you're looking at it as, hey, this was awesome. Let's do this again. This was not awesome. Let's probably pull back on this. Like for me, it's, maybe I shouldn't party so hard in college. Maybe I shouldn't like get my GPA so low and have to pay. There's a lot of things, you wish you didn't do. But I think reflecting on that and being honest with yourself and understanding that you're constantly evolving. Like either you're growing or you're shrinking. Like there's no staying stagnant, right? Like if you just coast through life, you're really coasting down.
Yep. Well, being like complacent is, we always talk about the worst place you can be.
Right.
Like, being content. The word content is my pet peeve because you're not happy, you're not sad, you're just cool with floating with exactly where you are.
And you never, the illusion there is you never stay exactly where you are. You always go down.
Yeah, and therefore you can never be happy.
Right. You always get worse and worse. And I think something I've learned just through the past couple of years, and something that's kind of occurred to me most recently, it's not the destination, it is the journey, but it's always a struggle. Like, there's always something that you're going to be fighting for. Life's hard in general. Like, it's not an easy...
It's not pretty, dude.
Easy pursuit, no matter what you do. No matter what level of life, you have different challenges. Some people have it a little bit easier than others, but at the end of the day, life's hard. Like, you're going to go through some hard stuff. The day-to-day is going to get mundane. Like, it's going to be hard. So you have to have the why. You have to have the why do you go through? Why do you go through the struggle each day? Why do you fight for something? Why are you trying to build something?
What are you trying to do?
What is your
accomplish?
Purpose? Right, and then finding that purpose that's bigger than just a single goal. The goal should be something that aligns you on your path to achieving that purpose. But, you want to make sure that you're setting your life up to where every single day you're going to do something that you care about, that gets you out of bed, that makes sure that, when you spend those extra hours, it's not for nothing, right? Like, you're actually building something. And for me, it's Kanga. For you, I'm not sure. I'm sure Kanga's a big part of it. But, I think one of the biggest things, and a lot of people have good intentions and stuff, but one of the biggest things that you can do is just add value to the world. Like, it's a fundamental thing. Either I'm someone who's going to take value from the world, or I'm someone who's going to add value to the world.
It's exactly what we've seen with the Hook guys.
Right.
And like the Clemson relationships that we've had is everybody that we've come into contact with Clemson has been, I don't want any money up front. All I care about is seeing you guys take this thing to the next level and giving back to the next generation.
And that's exactly what we want to do when we have someone call us and say, hey, how do you do this, this, and this? Like, we don't know how to get from here to where we're going. We've got a good idea. We've got good skill sets, good tools.
We got the ability to try
We got the ability to try well. But we know how we got to here, right? So we can give you pointers on that. And everybody that reaches out looking to get that first step off or that, off the ground, there's a big gap between idea and getting your first office. Like, there's a big gap there. We can give advice on that. And then the people that we've talked to that have mentored us in the past, with that mentality saying, hey, we're not charging you, we're just going to help you. We want to add value to you so you can pass it on. What's the first thing we're going to do? Pass it on.
Freaking pass it on, dude.
It's an obligation.
Yeah. I think that's at the core of ethical business. And that's at the core of your why factor. I think your why factor has to do with so much. We got your why factor in college, which was, hey, I am doing this because I want to start my own company, and I see that crossover between creativity and the analytical side to build something amazing. Mm-hmm. What would you say your why factor is now, being 2 years out of college and, in an office that's actually sustainable and having a company that's growing consistently?
Yeah. It all goes back to the big thing, add value to the world, right? Either you're adding value to the world or you're taking value from the world. I want to add value to the world. How I want to do it now, we're adding value with everything we do. With our mission statement to make things more fun and convenient for people. The why that I find in that is life has so few moments that stand out, right? There's so many days you just kind of churn and burn. Nothing stands out. It's nothing's crazy. Nothing's exciting. You're not spending time with friends. You're just kind of getting through some hard things, some hard time. There's so few days where you're with your buddies. You're sharing time together. You're having a meal. You're watching a football game. And a lot of times you're drinking. I think moderation's key. We're not
promoting
anything crazy.
Drinking, yeah.
But I think there's something to be said about everybody getting together, having a good time around a beer.
And letting loose.
And just enjoying each other's presence.
Yeah.
And making the absolute most out of those moments. And I think COVID's taught us that too. If anything COVID's taught us, it's that we shouldn't take anything for granted anymore like that. Like going out to the bar with your buddies or being able to just hang out with them and watch a football game or sports or something because it's lonely in isolation, So I think, for me, it's how do we add value? Well, how do we add value to make the good times in life better? How can we maximize those moments? Because everybody has a select number of those days. We don't know it yet, but everybody has a select number of those days. Most of the time, we're not sitting there having fun with friends. How do we make the time that we are as good as it possibly can be? And how do we do that through our products? This product does that. It makes it more enjoyable, more convenient to have a good beer with friends. It looks great, you feel great carrying it. But what other products can we do like this?
Performance enhancing Ruzy.
Performance enhancing Ruzy. That's going to enhance your performance, but you're not going to drop it. It's cool. It's a little subtle feature that makes it feel so much better and seamless. It's the stuff you don't really notice too.
And you know what I think is the beautiful thing behind it that none of us have really ever thought about, but it's kind of in every single one of our products. Everything that we've made it is a conversation starter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That is true.
It's like whether the shirt has, a hilarious saying, what's that design, what's that thing, what's that strap on your koozie, like everything is a conversation starter, and everything is made to bring people together and just have a good time. And it's just carefree and
make
fun.
it easier. Just make it easier to have a good time.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be spending your time worried about going to get the ice for your cooler when you're just going to go to your buddy's place and just chill.
And also, I think a big thing, too, is, with your Yeti coolers, if you're going to a tailgate to have a good time, you shouldn't be focused on your image, either.
And that's a big piece of it. I'm gonna gruelingly haul this big Yeti just so everybody knows that I have $300 to spend on a cooler.
Yeah, exactly. Or, I'm going to have Yetis posted up at my tailgate because, it makes my tailgate look high-end. At the end of the day, we're all here to hang out. You don't need that. If you don't need it, you don't need it.
And that's something that I can say honestly that none of us want our products to turn into. Mm-hmm. We don't see our products as a status symbol. We see our products as a manifestation of, our why. To make the good times better, to reduce any friction you have in the experience. Make it seamless. Make it easy to go out there and enjoy, good times with your buds. Make it so easy that you're not focused on the dang cooler. You're focused on having fun and being with people. Mm-hmm. That's the goal.
Yeah, exactly. Focusing on the present. It's living in the present.
Right.
Exactly what we talked about. It's, we talked about self-reflection is important. It's I think what you were kind of getting at is it's important to be, self-critical. Not to the point to where, you're beating yourself up, but to the point where you realize what you're good at, what you're not good at, and you double down on the areas that you're good at, and you also find a community of people that are going to help you with what you're not good at.
Without a doubt. There's also a level of, I guess, the perspective of I'm always growing versus I got to reach a destination. If you have a destination in mind that you have to reach, I want to be this person, and I can't not be this person, and I want to be them now.
Yeah.
I want to be them soon. You have too much pressure. You understand, you're flawed. We're all humans. We all fail. We're always growing. We're always trying to reach that person we want to be, our ideal self. That's where self-reflection comes in. But there's two different perspectives on it. On one hand, if I reflect on myself and I want to be at a destination now, I get frustrated as hell that I'm not there yet. Yeah. I get mad at myself. I get pissed. I get fear. I'm like, gosh, why can't I stop this or improve this, or why am I not happy in my job, or But on the other hand, if you realize that it's a continuous path, you're never going to reach that goal. The goal is every single day the struggle. It's every single day trying to aspire to that. You're not frustrated with yourself. You go, okay, well, today, I did this or did that, or I'm not happy with my job right now. But I know it's a long game. It's not going to be made today or tomorrow. All I have to focus on is, did I add a little bit of value today? Did I get a little bit better today? If you get 1% better every single day, over 100 days, you got 100%.
Yeah.
Actually, more than that.
More than that, dude.
It's exponential. So, I mean, it's this difference in perspective on that I kind of think a lot of people get kind of roped into, and they get frustrated with themselves. But one of the things that some people I listen to and follow, say, hey, don't be hard on yourself. You're a human. You're a person.
Yeah.
Sometimes we all suck. Sometimes we're all great.
Also, learning how to value criticism. Yeah. I know that was, for me personally, criticism was never something that I took lightly, because everything that I brought to the table or presented was something that I, had an idea of, poured my heart into, believed in.
You put everything.
Was ready. Was and my expectation was everybody was going to be this is lights out idea. But that's never the case. And realizing that your perspective is one in a billion.
Yeah. Is
super important. And coming bringing that all full circle, being able to realize that, if you can surround yourself with a team that, has a common goal, has a common belief, but can give you constructive feedback, and you can learn how to not take that personally, and learn that the only reason anyone is giving you constructive feedback is to try to improve you, and through other people's mistakes you also learn as well.
Right.
And so the more that you seek constructive criticism and feedback, the more everybody else is learning. that being said, with balance, which has also been a huge like point on this, it's also important to, you know, build people up. I mean, how many people at this company have had ideas where we've all looked at it and been like, I don't see that happening, and then you know it ends up, you know, they see something that we don't. Like
sometimes,
yeah.
A lot of times you have. Like, I know the finger loop koozie guy, because originally you pitched it to me. You were saying like it's a good like, you know, coffee mug and all this and that stuff, and I was just like, yeah, like, that's cool. That's
coffee
cute.
mug, yeah,
that's cute. I'm just like, wait a minute, you put that little, and then everybody's phone has something to go. Wait a minute, okay, that actually might be pretty lights out. It might be pretty cool.
But not even that. I mean, like Austin with like coming in with the, you know, B2B side, being like, hey, like we could like literally make like a division down the company. And at first I remember thinking like, why would we want to do that? Like,
I wouldn't call it a division. I would call it like a focus.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Why would we? I remember thinking like, why would we want to do two separate?
Because it's played out so well compared to what it, like.
It's been amazing.
Because think about it, like all that he does for the D2C side, like with the ambassadors and with like just looking at the ads and like being conscious of that and knowing that that's part of our goal, like that's our business.
Yeah.
And then in seeing how we help, you know, the D2C side helps the B2B side with creative content, getting ads set up, trying to help the website, to try to help them in any way that we can. Like it's been a really, really good relationship.
Totally, in that core understanding of how, you know, the D2C side of the business and the B2B side of the business, and to those listening, we're talking about, you know, Kanga designs, stuff that we brand, our website versus stuff that we do for other companies.
Like Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Custom.
Exactly. You start to realize how much they overlap and how we need both of the groups to be firing on all cylinders, and how, you know, there's no reason to like, you know, create a divide. Like there is no reason to create a divide because everybody has good ideas, but also, you know, one side of the company might be able to provide some form of constructive criticism that's going to make you think about something that, you know, you might have been all in on.
Right. Absolutely. It's about seeking out, like you said, seeking out that criticism. Not in a self-deprecating way, but just like to battle test your idea. Like it's so easy, and a lot of entrepreneurs fall into this category. It's so easy to just get so sucked into your idea that nobody can tell you nothing. Like this is the idea. If you don't like it, you're a hater. Get out of here. Like you don't see it. There is that. There's also a balance, right? Like you have to see it bigger than anybody else. You can't let them discourage you, but you got to balance that with, is this really a good idea? Like, is this actually gonna add value? Like, how does this actually play out? So I think, you know, with product development, kind of what we look to do now, and originally I guess so too, is just battle test the idea. Like, do a test market. Like we've got some new products coming out soon, and like we're gonna test market. We're not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, this is gonna be the one," and just press play. No, we're gonna go out and say, "Hey, tell me why this isn't a good idea. Tell me why this isn't gonna be amazing for you." And like, if you have nothing, great. If you have something, even better, because I know we need to change something. Let's go change it.
Exactly. Yeah, realizing that, I think, has been so crucial for this company. Like because when you understand that, you know, we're all so close to the brand. I mean, if you put a Kanga logo on anything, we're all going to be amped about it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because, I mean, this is our bread and butter. But once you can take it from the standpoint of, like, okay, what do other people want? And starting to think from, like, a consumer perspective. Do you think you've, like, started to think more from a consumer perspective as, like, the brand's grown? You've gotten more involved with the marketing department and stuff like that? Or
yes and no. I mean, every time there's you're the same way I am. Like we're both very similar in the fact that when we have an idea, we're like, yes, let's go. You have to have that like optimism, enthusiasm, but like we both kind of have to go. Okay, like let's pull it back. Like let's look at the logic of it. Does it fit this? Does it fit? Does it make Does it actually add value? Is it simple? Is it easy? And just kind of looking through the criteria on does it pass that filter? Do people like it? Like
you and I almost need a week.
I don't think anything's changed, to be honest. Like
Nothing,
the awareness of that, I need to battle test it. The awareness of like we need to get excited about it. Put the idea, because the excitement creates the idea in the first place.
It almost makes me more competitive about the ideas too.
Oh yeah,
like to battle test it. Like, dude, it better be bulletproof.
Right. It's just like I'm like, if you're so confident, it's like tell me what's wrong with it. When someone tells you what's wrong, you're just like, crap, you're right. Dang it. Like, but
like you don't have a pocket on your cooler. Where can I put my phone? Oh no, it's got a pocket. Like you ever look inside? I mean, all that sort of stuff. It's just I mean, breaking it all down. So, I guess bringing it back, we've gone all around. I think we've talked about some awesome things. I hope people have provided value. You down for numero trace, or you got to get back to work after this?
Well, we got a call with your dad in a minute, so.
Oh, well then
we'll cut it in too. You can have trace though.
Hey, let's double trace, and then you're on the call with my dad with a cold Bud Light.
Cold buddy.
Yeah. Friends don't
Dude,
let
nobody's
friends
called it
crack
that. A
one
cold
line.
buddy. I feel like that could be a thing.
Well, you guys heard it here first.
Cold buddy.
Cold buddy. I like
if
that.
If you guys
man.
can start saying that, I won't take credit for it. But
cold
you guys
buddy
can.
and breakfast beers. All right, Logan. So we're gonna finish this out.
I'm gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. Really appreciate.
I don't know. I got 2 more questions for you, bro.
Oh, I thought we were
These are
done.
the last 2. No.
Oh Lord, here we go.
No, here we go. Ready? So, what is the quote that gets you out of bed in the morning and that you live by?
Ooh. One of them was really good. I don't know if I have a single one, but it's live today like no one else, so that then you can live like no one else. Like basically make the sacrifices today like nobody else is willing to make, so that tomorrow you can enjoy it in prosperity like nobody else can enjoy. And I think right now we're not prosperous. We're not making much money at all. Like we're still investing in this thing. We're trying to grow this thing. We believe in it. We're working every single day. But the sacrifices we've made in the past, they've started to materialize. Again, like we're sitting here drinking beer on a Friday afternoon at work.
Yeah.
There's something sweet in that.
Yeah, and
So.
as many people don't view this as work, it still is,
It is, yeah.
It's giving back. It's doing that thing.
Absolutely.
Hopefully giving back. All right, and then here's the last question. This is what I end every podcast with.
Okay.
And you haven't been fired with this one yet, so I'm really excited about it. Ready? So where do you see yourself in 10 years? And then where do you see yourself in 10 years after 10 beers?
Phenomenal question.
Yeah,
That's
well
awesome.
worded, right?
Yeah.
Poetic. That should be framed somewhere.
In 10 years, I'm probably either with Kanga, depending on where things go. Who knows, right? I think it'll all be up. I think it'll be a good thing whatever happens. But in 10 years, I think I will be, again, trying to fulfill that purpose of adding value to the world.
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like. I don't know exactly what vehicle I'm going to use for that or who will be by my side with that. Who knows? I'd like for it to still be Kanga. We're all still fighting together. At the end of the day, that's going to be what I'm chasing, is adding value to the world in whatever way I'm best suited to.
Yep.
Whatever that means. And so I guess I don't plan everything out as granularly and that far out, because I don't want to hold myself to
It's not supposed to be
right.
far out thinking.
You want to give yourself the flexibility around some core like value or idea. So yeah.
Exactly. All right, now so you're
10 beers.
10 beers.
Where do I see myself in 10 years after 10 beers? I'm probably at a dang tailgate, dude. I'm not gonna stop tailgating.
Yeah.
I'm with the family. Like we're out there. I got a wife, got kids, playing some cornhole, drinking beer.
Maybe you got a little Logan running around.
Little Logan, maybe. My wife's probably getting mad at me because she's like, slow down. I'm not gonna slow down.
You got a case
I'm 10
mate
beers
by your
deep. You
side.
forced me into it. I'm 10 beers deep, right? Like
And you still got 2 more in that 12-pack.
right, exactly. So I'm not gonna slow down. I'm gonna keep going. I'll have a terrible hangover the next day because I've learned from 21 to 24 now. Like, dude, they get worse.
Dude, I'm already starting to take the dagger.
They get
at
worse,
22,
dude.
man.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
dude, they get bad. So I don't want to know what it's gonna feel like then. But yeah, after 10 beers in 10 years, I'm probably post game day, next morning, hungover as heck with an angry wife.
But still sending it nonetheless.
Still sending it nonetheless.
All right, well, I think that's the best way to close it off. That was the best answer to that question we've had so far. So cheers to that. You got to go call my dad.
He just called me, so.
Yeah, well, we'll make it happen. All right, guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in. And that should do it. Thank you for tuning in to the Business One-0-Fun podcast. You guys can find us at www.kangacoolers.com. Kanga Coolers on all social channels. Be sure to check out our other blogs, videos, other podcasts. We're in it for the long haul. We also heard they're pretty fun. As always, cheers and take it easy.